I want to have a conversation about celebrity culture. Continuing somewhat on some conversations I've been having on this channel while I continue toiling away at what has already become low-key my new main channel masterpiece, some more stuff has been going on that useless website that is designed to stoke violence, kill nuance, and rot brains. Alchemist, famous and rising producer in the underground slash experimental hip-hop scene, did a little Q&A recently. A little light thing. He probably wasn't thinking anything of it. Then one commenter asks, "Are you a Zionist?" He doesn't respond. He doesn't have to respond. This is his thing, his platform, his Q&A. He doesn't have to do what he doesn't want to. People started drawing attention to it. Hey man, why don't you answer the question? Still does not respond. The question ratios his original tweet. Other people join on the bandwagon. In all his subsequent tweets, people keep asking, "Alchemist, are you a Zionist?" He starts blocking people. He's commenting LOL on the randos trying to defend his, at this point, obvious ducking. The thing about Alchemist is that I would have assumed he was anti-Zionist by association. A bunch of rappers he's with are openly pro-Palestine. Like, I don't even know what he'd have to lose by answering the question. Like, at this point, lie. Just lie. Lie and say no. People won't question it. You already look pro-Palestine. Why don't you just answer the question? I mean, now I went and looked into it and... It's not looking good, Chief. But I wouldn't have if you answered the damn question. I saw someone in the comments say the only Gaza he care about is Vibes Cartel. Alchemist the type of guy to come to Jamaica to smoke weed. He's one of those white people you see on Hope Road, just casually smoking a spliff in public. Makes great music though. You know, as much as I wish Alchemist would just answer the damn question, you know, from a figure with a platform standpoint, why? Why do we, as the audience, need him to do it? To what extent should it affect us and the actual Palestinian cause? Interestingly enough, on the other side of the equation, another figure that I like got hailed off for his sounds on the matter, except he doesn't even use Twitter. As many have pointed out, this looks straight up like a bit from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now, Larry is someone I expect to be Zionist by association. All his colleagues are publicly pro-Israel. He seems to be firmly in that circle, in that world, in that bubble. His colleague who's getting on his ass for not talking about the hostages is saying this in response to a piece he wrote about Bill Maher going to have dinner with Donald Trump, saying that the comparison to Hitler is anti-Semitic. I'll do one better. Netanyahu is Hitler. But anyways, Larry is very much in that liberal Zionist kind of space, though it's clear that he isn't concerned too much with getting his hands dirty with all these actual global conflicts. The closest thing to an actual statement on the matter might be seen in the actual Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, Palestinian Chicken, which interestingly enough ends with this scene that's been memed to death. What you may not know is that this gif you guys are always using is Larry David, this old Jewish man deep in liberal Zionist Hollywood, having to choose between a Palestinian chicken shop he likes with this waitress he wants to bang, or siding with his fellow Zionist Jews who are protesting the establishment of the Palestinian restaurant.
You know, I thought all last night, if Rabin can break bread with Arafat, I can have chicken at this anti-Semitic shithole.
The episode is so wild, but in true Curb fashion, he isn't actually trying to make a statement. He's making fun of the whole issue.
You know what it is? You're always attracted to someone who doesn't want you, right?
Right.
Well, here you have somebody who not only doesn't want you, doesn't even acknowledge your right to exist.
Palestinians are played in this very exaggerated, evil, racist way.
I like you.
What's not to like?
You're a Jew.
That they all hate Jews and believe the existence of Jewish people is a threat to them. Obviously, this myth that's been created is to this day a Zionist talking point, and Zionists are portrayed as just being annoying, hypocritical, self-righteous goons. But it is very much played that those are his people, and the only reason he goes to and supports this Palestinian restaurant and is praised by them as being this pro-Palestinian icon is because he likes the chicken and wants to bang this anti-Semitic racist. Larry may never say anything overtly, but he's probably a Zionist. A Zionist in the sense that he believes in the right of Israel to exist and all that, but he's also probably pretty annoyed at his vocal, self-righteous colleagues. I don't want him to confirm or deny that assessment. I don't want him to say anything about this issue. Jerry has broken my heart enough. Why does it matter though? I mean, I know why. The reason why is for the same reason why, even though I don't really like to talk about politics, I just can't stop, because things keep happening. I recognize that I have some capacity of a platform and I want to use it to put good into the world. That's why celebrities are always, increasingly now in this age, being forced to say things, speak on certain issues, use your platform. But also, why? I think about Chappelle Roan, who blew up last year in my summer of depression, and despite the fact that I've still yet to listen to a single song from her, I don't like pop, I immediately felt kinship with her. Chappelle Roan seems to be a completely normal person who got very famous very quickly and was subject immediately to everything that means in a very short period of time. She's also very principled and passionate about certain issues, much like myself, but also she's not an expert. She's a singer, she's an artist, that's what she is. She's not a politician, she's not a sociologist, or an expert in any of these things, but she cares, and she tries to use her platform to put good into the world. However, again, she's just a person. Her job is to make nice songs and perhaps provoke thought. Kendrick is not going to pull up to the Super Bowl and solve racism in America. These people are not your heroes. This is more so a message for the audience, though. I think culture places way, way, way too much stock in famous people to fight the battles that people en masse should be fighting. However, again, I choose to talk anyway. Kenny's gonna talk the thing, but then he's gonna hop into the studio with Playboy Cardi. Chappelle is gonna talk the thing because she knows it will help some people, but she's still going to get things wrong. I don't know why the Alchemist don't just lie and say he's anti-Zionist, but again, I don't know him. Maybe there is some particular reason he doesn't just put his foot down. I don't know what that is, and I can't lie, I really just wish he'd stop dodging the question. But is that going to stop you from believing what you believe? Does or must it affect the larger movement and cause and aid to Palestinians? Boy. Ben Savage, boy from Boy Meets World, broke my heart to 10,000 pieces by using his platform to continuously spread his Zionist propaganda. Ow! That's the next thing, you know? I don't want Larry to say anything about the hostages. I'm gonna level with you. I don't want him to say anything. I don't expect that from Larry. I don't need Larry to bolster what I believe. I'd rather not have him use his platform to promote nonsense. As for Alchemist, I would like it if he used his platform to support Palestine like his colleagues and stop dodging the issue, but that isn't his job. What I'm really getting at here is that this is more of a conversation about celebrity and what celebrities mean in culture. Celebrities should not have the hold on culture and discourse that they do, but unfortunately that is the reality of the situation. I think people with influence should use that influence to put good into the world and influence people well. But I don't think we should be living in a culture where just because so-and-so says this is good and or shares my opinion, suddenly it is valid. The thing about Alchemist, especially with how badly he got ratioed in that tweet, is that the people who listen to Alchemist and the rappers he works with are largely anti-Zionist, and have already made their minds up about the matter. While I wish he would just reply, I'm not sure that a question like "Are you a Zionist?" is about how he chooses to use his platform. Unless he's actually been funding Israel. Yeah, in that case, that makes sense. Supporting him is supporting these atrocities, and it is completely valid to demand to know what kind of person you are supporting when you stream your nice songs and all of that. But this Twitter discourse feels more like a team sports thing. Frankly, like that episode of Curb. Which side are you on, Larry? Asking Larry why he hasn't said anything about the hostages is also a bit ridiculous, but from a Zionist standpoint, they're asking directly about how he's choosing to use his platform. Alchemist blocking everyone who draws attention to the issue is his way of silencing his critics and making the issue go away, because as he's made it clear at this point, he does not want to involve himself in this conversation at all. Though he is working in hip-hop, which is an inherently political genre, and he works with people who talk explicitly about political issues all the time. It does look pretty bad that he has a record with Israel in the title. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, I do find it interesting how much we still culturally flock to these schmucks, because at the end, these are just schmucks at the end of the day, to affirm our beliefs and promote culture. On the conflict I've been feeling, I think I'm a leftist. I may still very much consider myself to be learning, but I will get offended if you call me a liberal. And due to very recent real-life events, I think I've actually begun to find the role that I might serve in the great cause in a material way. When I say I don't know, I'm more thinking about the image, the online persona, the brand of the YouTube leftist video essayist. I've tried to run away from that for a while. The role of the propagandist and what is expected from the propagandist, because in spite of everything, I've still considered myself to first and foremost be an artist. I want my approach to be to find truth, while the role of a propagandist is to direct people to a fixed cause. I do believe in and love the propagandists of good causes, but my conflict has been to what extent what I do and where my strengths lie should find themselves in this whole map of ideas. My art has ideas in it and I feel very strongly about a lot of things, but I do not want people to be bamboozled into viewing me as a persona for whatever they believe, or be seen as an authority about anything. It truly damages my mind that I'm probably the only Jamaican that most of you have as a point of reference, and I have chosen to somewhat embrace that in myself. Because I feel like on these issues with such a scale, you should not be looking to celebrities for answers. I truly didn't know anything about Israel and Gaza prior to October 2023. I'm still having to explain to family members that Jesus would not think that the slaughter of children is God's will.
Yeah, what's your opinion about Israel?
It's kind of a...
You have a platform, you should support Israel. That's part of being Jewish,
Yeah.
supporting Israel.
So I should say, like...
I know what it is to be surrounded, smothered really by religious extremists, and how that has affected how I talk about things. I want Alchemist to say something, and frankly I am beyond disappointed by his silence on an issue I feel is a no-brainer at this point. But there is something a little messed up by the emphasis that our culture has put on these random people who probably aren't the most equipped to speak on these things, to inform global perspective, especially when you don't know what circumstances might be clouding their judgment. Something Ethan Klein. That's really my discussion for today. If you have a platform, be responsible with it and use it to do good. Do not support the slaughter of innocent children. However, if you are a viewer or just, a civilian for lack of a better word, do not depend on Joe Schmoes with microphones to affirm your own beliefs. The one talking to you now included. Do your own research, talk to people. Celebrity culture is a poison on society, and I think the fact that people have begun to put more scrutiny on celebrities is symptomatic of a shift in culture, maybe a growing pain. But people need to remember that they are just schmucks. These people are not your gods. They're not the revolution. Be the change you want to see. Don't let yourself be disappointed by random people you have images of in your heads.